Okay, I'm aware of what a controversial statement this is, and I'm not going to offend it other than saying that I've heard all the complaints, and Final Fantasy has always had weird time travel stories that make no sense since Final Fantasy One. So, but anyway, here's the statement: Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. I think it goes to just more than it being the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. I played other ones. I really like Final Fantasy IX. I've pretty much played them all at this point. But nine is also a runner up in there. But Final Fantasy VIII has my favorite battle system in any RPG ever. It has the junction system, which allows for a lot of flexibility, and it allows you to find, magic, draw magic and stuff from opponents and the environment and stuff. Well, anyway, but this isn't about that. As this video title says, the Steam version of Final Fantasy VIII has problems. Real problems. Now, I had some money left over on a Steam gift card months ago, but I only just got around to playing it. And so, for the convenience, I figured it was worth it, getting Final Fantasy VIII on the PC. It's easier than digging out my PS2, taking it into the living room and everything, and hooking it up through its, composite cables, which are a pain in the neck nowadays because they always bury them. There's only ever one attachment on modern TVs for composite cables, and then you have to, swap things out or get a switch box and have switch boxes plugged into switch boxes and remember what button to push. So, yeah, playing it on the PC seemed convenient. Well, the first problem I didn't capture because I wasn't thinking to start capturing footage before I even played it. But every time you start the game, every single time, Square requires you to enter your email address and create and sign in with a password, or create a new password in some cases on their website. Yes, you not only have to go through Steam's DMR, but you also have to go through pathetic DMR that sometimes just forces you arbitrarily to just start a new account with Square. So you have to constantly be creating new email addresses. So that should put you off right there. If for some reason that doesn't put you off, well, I will say this. The graphics look very nice. Just take a look at this clip here, and you'll see Final Fantasy VIII has never looked better. And it still has that thing that Square succeeded at in excelled at in the 90s, which is the seamless transition from the gameplay to cutscenes, which is something you don't see often. So I'll show you some examples of that. Then I'll get into why from the moment I started this game, there were problems. Now, I may be the only person who's played Final Fantasy VIII enough times to actually notice this, but you saw a hint of one of the problems right there. They've changed the music. The music is the heart of every Final Fantasy game, even the ones with speech. But before speech even became a thing in Final Fantasy X, the thing that gave the game its character and its voice was the music. And they've totally screwed it up. What's more, they've messed the synchronization up. And, anyway, and yeah, compared to the PlayStation version, I don't know what they did. But here's the thing. I don't know everything there is to know about music. I don't know everything there is to know about electronic music. But to me, it sounds like they used a less advanced synthesizer. It sounds like instead of taking the files from the soundtrack album, which I have, or the PlayStation, they just screwed with it. I'll give you some examples. First off is right from the opening credits. It sounds like they took voices away. It sounds like they were using a less advanced sound synthesization chip that had fewer voices and turned up the bass and hoped you wouldn't notice. But it did, and it totally it just doesn't feel right. And then the music isn't even in sync with the opening credits the way it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be like a gentle fade into the Final Fantasy VIII logo. Instead, the Final Fantasy VIII logo just pops up like some cheap slideshow I put together. And it would be bad enough if this was just the opening credits, but it continues throughout the game. Now, the opening cinematic sounds fine, so that gives you some hope. Then once you start playing the game, well, the music is all screwed up. And I'll give you some examples here. And the first example is going to be from the opening credits, and first it's going to be the PlayStation version. Then I'll give you the PC version. And then you'll see what I mean here. And some of these I don't have gameplay clips, but I will play the music because I have the music as it sounds on the PlayStation version. So if you don't see gameplay, that's the PlayStation version, and the PlayStation version just sounds so much better. I don't know how they did this. I would love somebody to tell me how they managed to screw this up. So, you've seen and heard that now. So, what are my final thoughts? The game is still worth playing. However, I have no problem tracking down new copies for under $20 on eBay and Amazon. You can find them. I got my one scratched up, and I got a black case, new copy of it last year for around 15 bucks online. Mainly because this isn't one of the more popular games in the Final Fantasy series, and most people seem to hate it. But if you really want to play Final Fantasy VIII, well, the graphics are the nicest I've ever seen. Too bad they couldn't keep the music the same. As it is, to me, the music is much more part of what gives the game its character and its atmosphere than the graphics. So, I'd say avoid this version. If you want to play Final Fantasy VIII, get it. And, yeah, I'm going to go to the trouble, and all those problems I had, I'm going to cook composite video. I'm still going to do it. Waiting for the family TV to be available. Yeah, I'll still do that. If you need a system to play it on, again, I was able to find in a Goodwill a thin PlayStation 2 that plays it perfectly for 12 bucks. So it's not like those are systems that'll play this are hard to find. So yeah, I don't know if the digital version on the PlayStation Store is the same as this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the exact same thing. So between the copy protection and what they did to the music and it being out of sync, and just sounding like, it sounds like they used a cheap key, sounds like they used professional synthesizers for the PlayStation version, and somebody just banged out the same score on a cheap keyboard for this version. Between that, I say, avoid the PC version of Final Fantasy VIII, unless the graphics are the most important thing to you, and you don't feel like going to the trouble of getting an old PlayStation hooked up to your TV. Then I guess, yeah, if you really want to play this, yeah, it's still worth playing, but good night. This is a huge screw-up of a port, and I don't even know how they managed to do it, because it's not like the original music is hard to find or anything. I just don't know. You think Square could do better than this, especially when it's full price at around 15 bucks. Good night. This is such a failure on Square's part. Good night.